Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Before going into the detail of lecture number 3, part first, we discuss some MATLAB command. This is MATLAB release 2016A, and in this program of MATLAB, this is the command prompt, and here we apply some command which will help us for understanding lecture number 3, part first. Let's suppose I have a variable a, and I assign some value to this variable 20, 50, then 80, and then 15. These are some darker gray values, and then semicolon. This is first line of a matrix, and I copy it. This is second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line, sixth line. I have assigned 6 rows to matrix A, and each row contains 4 columns. You may see it here when I will press enter. You may see it here. In each row the values are same, 20, 50, 80, 15, but there are 6 rows and 4 columns in this A matrix. Now I convert this A matrix and these gray levels, these values into the gray levels by applying int 8. Actually there are 8 bits in a byte, and each pixel contains a byte. So when I apply int 8 command on matrix A, then the MATLAB will convert each value of this matrix into the gray values and assign again to this matrix A. That means it will replace the matrix A with the gray pixel value. Now these are the gray pixel value. I can display these converted values by using this command imshow. Imshow is a command, and here I want to show the image A. When I will press enter, computer displayed this value. You may see when I maximize it, this is the image of those gray values which I have assigned to a variable or a matrix. Here this is figure 1, and you have seen the image of these gray values where there are 6 rows and 4 columns. We can get the value of rows and column from the MATLAB by using size command. Let's suppose I want to store rows in R and columns in C variable. Then I assign R and C a value by using this size command. Size of A. When I write size of A and I assign the value to R and C variable, then MATLAB will store the number of rows in R and number of columns in C. When I will enter this computer, you may see it here. R is equal to 6 and C is equal to 4. There were 6 rows and 4 columns in this A image. Here we want to see another command. Let's suppose subplot. This is a command and in this command I want to make I want to display two consecutive image. So I want to generate a grid of one row and two column, and in first row and first column I want to display the image of IAMShow. Here the third value, these two values represent that first row and the subplot consists on one row and two column, and this one means we are displaying at first location of grid this image IAMShow A semicolon, and if I want to display another part of this subplot, this image again, then I will write here value 2, that at second location of that grid MATLAB have to show again the image A. When I will press enter, computer will show like this. This is one row and two column, and in one row one column. At this location computer displayed the image A, and at one row and second column it also displayed the same image A. This is actually the subplot command. When we display more than one images in a single figure, then we use subplot command, and in this subplot command first two values shows the grid, that is there are one row and two column, and third value shows that we are displaying this image in first location of that grid. Here subplot 1 2 mean there are one row and two column in the grid, and we are displaying this image A in second location of this grid. So this is the result of IAMShow A, and this is the result of IAMShow A, this command. Also when we want to see a figure, it shows figure, but when I apply the command CLOSE close all semicolon, then MATLAB will close all the figures which I have displayed using this command. Image. Now you can see that when I bring my cursor here, there is no image dialog box because it has been closed. Let's suppose I again want to display the previous image by entering this command. The image has been displayed, and you may see it here. When you go here, it is also displayed here. You may see it here. But by using the close command, computer will close 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 all. It will close all the figures which I have been displayed using the MATLAB command. Now figure has been closed. Close all command closes all the figures, and here we can see the memory, and if I want to delete, I want to clear the memory, or I want to clear this screen, I will apply CLC command. CLC command clears the all commands which I have applied at the prompt command line. It will clear this screen, and you may see that all the commands have been cleared by CLC command. And clear all, there is another command, clear all. When I will apply this command, it will clear the memory of memory of MATLAB and the matrix A and all other things, values of M and R and C, which I have already been seen. You may see here. R and C is here in the memory of MATLAB, and also matrix A is here. I want to display the matrix A. Matrix A is here, but when I will apply this clear all command, and then it will clear all the memory of R, C and A, and after that when I want to see a matrix, it does not display this value. Clear all command clears the memory, while close all command closes the all figures which we have been displayed using MATLAB. Now I would like to start my original lectures, today lectures. This is our lecture number 3, part first of digital image processing for BCS 6th class. In this lecture we will study the, I want to see in broader or a little bit larger size, this image enhancement techniques. Today we will learn image enhancement techniques. How many image enhancement technique exist in digital image processing? You may see it. Image enhancement. What is image enhancement? First we see the definition of image enhancement. Image enhancement is the process of manipulating an image so that the result is more suitable than the original one. When we apply image enhancement technique on an original image, then the resultant image will be more suitable for that specific situation. Let's suppose we take an image with the help of a camera. We take the satellite image, and this satellite image contains some blur. Then image enhancement technique will remove that blur and make the image clear for reading and also for investigating that image. And if we take the image of a patient, of an X-ray image of a patient, and the X-ray location where the bone is broken or some other injury is present in the that X-ray, and that injury or that broken bone is not clear, then we apply image enhancement technique, and image enhancement techniques enhance that image for that suitable location so that the doctor can study that X-ray image easily and also predict some medicine or predict some suitable treatment for that specific patient whose X-ray image is under observation. So image enhancement technique actually enhance the original image into more suitable form. And this specific application means that let's suppose scientists want to study the satellite images, or the doctor want to study the patient's X-rays and also ultrasound images. Those images can be enhanced with the help of image enhancement techniques if these images have some noise or some blur or some other dull pixel values. Image enhancement can be done in spatial domain and frequency domain. Spatial domain means each pixel will be enhanced individually. Frequency domain means the group of pixels will be enhanced. Spatial domain transformation are of two types: point operation and mask operation. Again, these two techniques apply on the individual pixel, but in the first here point operation, the point operation actually perform the enhancement on each and every pixel individually, while the mask operation apply the enhancement on a pixel of original image with the reference of its neighbors. That is, mask collects the information from the neighbor of that specific pixels and then enhances that specific pixel in the light of those neighbors values. Point operation deals with pixel intensity values individually. I have also discussed it. I have also explained in the previous slide that it deals with the pixel intensity values individually. The intensity values are altered using particular transformation techniques. There are many transformation techniques which we will apply one by one on each and every pixel values, and we will get the transform value, and those the results of different techniques will be different. The transform output pixel values does not depend on any of the neighboring pixel values of input image. In point operation, the transform output pixel values does not depend on the neighboring pixel value, because in mask operation the output pixel value depends on the neighboring pixel value, but in point operation the output pixel value does not depend on the neighboring pixel value of input image. These are the techniques which can be applied on the input image, and the input image can be transformed into the resultant enhanced image. The first technique is image negative, the second is the contrast stretching, the third one is thresholding, brightness enhancement, log transformation, power law transformation. Here in this lecture we will discuss image negative and contrast stretching. In next lectures we will discuss the next four techniques in details. Mask operation. Here we define mask operation. Mask is a small matrix useful for blurring, sharpening, edge detection, and many more functionality. That is, mask is a small matrix. Mask is a 3x3, 4x4 or 5x5 matrix which is used for blurring an image, for sharpening an image, or for detecting edges from an image. New image is generated by multiplying the input image with the mask matrix. Input image actually is a large size image, and mask is also called a small image. This image is multiplied with the equivalent portion of the input image and then moved onward, and also take the second part of the input image and multiply this matrix with that part, and so on. It moves one by one on the pixels of the input image and transform it into enhanced pixel values by using mask matrix. The output pixel values thus depend on neighboring input pixel values, because mask is a 3x3, 4x4 or 5x5 matrix, and this mask collects the 3x3 mean 3 are 9 pixels neighboring pixel, 4x4 mean 16 neighboring pixels, and the mask collects the information from the neighboring pixel values and enhance that specific pixels of output image. The mask may be of any dimension, 3x3, 4x4 or 5x5. 3x3 means 3 rows and 3 columns. 4x4 means 4 rows and 4 columns. The mask is square matrix mask. You may see it here, mask operation. This is an image, and we take this red portion of image, and when the computer read this image, this red portion will be converted into gray values, and these are the gray values because here are some dark pixels, and again when we move towards right, the gray pixels occurs. So these values are 0 zeros, and here are some greater values than 0. It means these are totally black, zeros are totally black, while the values other than zeros are gray values. So when we take this small portion of this image, then this is the original pixels values of this image, and this is the mask. And when we apply this mask, that is, this is the sign of multiplication, and when we multiply these 9 values with these 9 values, first 9 values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then the computer enhances this middle value of the pixel and give to this image, and then this mask moves to these other 9 values, and then in these lower 9 values, and then these 9 values, and converted values are stored in the output image or enhanced image. This is input image, and these are the gray values of input image. There are many gray values, but we have taken just these these small part of this image. When we will convert it into gray values, there will be I think 500 into 500 gray values. But I have taken small part, and these are the 4 into 4 matrix gray value belongs to this small portion, and these gray values are multiplied with this mask and converted into this image. We understand this concept in the next slides. Transformation function for different intensity transformation. Here you may see this lens start from zeros and goes to this corner. This diagonal line is called identity line. This is the graph and identity image. And when we transform it, let's suppose we convert it into negative image, its graph become totally inverted. It starts from here and goes to this corner, right, left, upper left corner. Identity image starts from the lower bottom corner, and its graph goes to upper right corner, while the negative image graph starts from the lower right corner and goes to the upper left corner of two-dimensional coordinates. This is output gray levels, and these are the input gray levels. 0, L by 4, L by 2, L mean 255, 256. L mean 256. There are 256 gray levels in each gray image. Maximum 256 gray levels, and the first gray levels value of first gray level is 0, and the last is L-1, that is 255. 0 is black and 255 is white. There are so many gray levels in between black and white. So this is identity image graph, and this is the negative image graph, which is reverse of identity. Identity start from here to go upward, and negative image start from here and go this way. How we will see this identity and negative image in the next few slides, when we will study the negative image transformation. This is log. Log transformation goes this way, and anti-log goes from this identity to the opposite side. This is inverse log. You may see it here. If the log image goes from this side or upper portion of this identity graph, then inverse log will go to the bottom or the lower portion of this identity graph. This is nth power log image graph, and this is the nth root graph image graph. These are a little graph we will understand and we will study it in later slide. First we discuss what is image negative. Let's suppose this is a 4 rows and 4 column, 4 cross 4 original image pixel values represented with R. This first location, gray value is represented with R. Here R is equal to 0, here R is equal to 255, here R is equal to 128, here R is equal to 50. So each pixel values of original image will be represented with R, and this is the negative image, and each pixel value of this negative image is represented with S, and this is the transformation function. S is equal to L minus 1. L is equal to 255, there are 256, there are 256 gray level, and 256 minus 1 becomes 255. This is 255 minus R. Actually, this is transformation function. S is equal to 255 minus R. We will take each pixel from the original image and will transform into the negative image. So R is equal to the original image pixel value R is equal to 0 here. We put here 0. 255 minus 0 becomes 255 and S becomes 255. So here the negative image pixel value is represented with S, and the corresponding first pixel value of original image is 0 and the first pixel value of negative image is 255, because this transform image take input pixel values here and transform into output pixel values, that is S, by using this expression. The second pixel value in original image is 255. Then we will put the value of R, that is 255, our second pixel value here. 255 minus 255 becomes 0. S will be 0. So the second value of this negative image is 0. The third value is 255 and 255 will put here. 255 minus 255 becomes 0. The third value of original image is 255. The gray value is 255, while the third pixel value of the negative image is 0, because transformation function transform it into 0. So the black value will become white here, and the white values, these three pixel values are white, they become black. Negative means make the black values white and make the white values black. So this transformation functions transform these values into these negative values, while the values which are not black and not white, that is 100 is not black and not white, but it is the middle value. 128 is the middle one, 170 is the middle value from 0 to 255. In between 0 to 255 it is 175, the middle value. So when we put 100 here, 255 minus 100 become 155. So the second line, first pixel value of the second line become 155, because 255 minus 100 become 155. This is the output image pixel value transformed by this transformation function. You may see it here again. The third line and the last pixel value is 0, and when we will put 0 here, 255 minus 0 is equal to 255. The S will become 255, and in output image the third row and the last column contains here the 255 value. Here it is 0, while the transform value is 255. You may see it here 180, and when R, value of R is 180, we put here 180, and when we subtract it from the 255, it becomes 75, and the target image, that is negative image value, first value of the fourth line becomes 75, while the first value of the first column of original pixel value is 180, while the fourth line of first column pixel value is 180, fourth line of the first column pixel value of negative image is 75. This transformation function transform it from 180 to 75 by subtracting 180 from 255. Negative images are useful for enhancing white or gray detail embedded in dark region of an image. That is why we transform this original image into it. There are some hidden information in the dark portion of the original image, so we convert into light into the dark portion is converted into brighter, and the brighter are converted into darker, so that we can study the hidden information inside the original image by transforming into negative. The negative of an image with gray levels in the range 0 to L-1. In this negative image, we will also have the gray values from 0 to 255, and in between 0 to 255, and not greater, less than 0 and not greater than 255 values will be here. Obtained using this expression. We have used this expression and performed in negative image. L-1 maximum pixel value and R pixel value of an original image. These values are represented with R, while S is the target image, a negative image pixel values. Here you may see image negative. This is an original image of a ship in the sea, and you may see the body of this ship is black, while in negative image the body of this ship is white, because the transformation function converted these pixel values. The image, this is the image, and there are many pixels. This body of ship consists of many black pixels, and transformer function converted this black pixel into this white pixel. This is the color of sea water. This is black, while here in negative image this is white. You may see it here. This is hill, and the pixel values of hill in this image is darker, that is black, while in negative image the pixel values of this hill are looking white, because negative image converted it from 0 to 255. Here you may see that the sky or the clouds are white, while here it has been converted into black. You may see it here, the equipment and the other items of and the other part of this ship are white, while here in this image these parts are black. So the negative transformation converted the black pixels of original image into white pixels, and the white pixel of the original image are converted into the black, and the semi-gray are converted into semi-gray. You may see it here. This is the program. I have discussed some commands in our MATLAB environment in the beginning of this lecture. You may see it clear. All mean this. When we will run this program will clear all the memory of MATLAB and will store the new values, new variable values which we will use in this program. So firstly it will clear all memory. CLC, it will clear the screen of the MATLAB command. Close all, it will close all the images which I have been or the someone have displayed using MATLAB, those figures will be closed using this third command, imread command. This is the name of our gray image, clone.png, single quotation marks, and close within single quotation marks. And imread is a function. This function will read this image and convert each pixels into its gray level integer values and store in a two-dimensional matrix A, because each gray image is a two-dimensional image and it will be converted into two-dimensional matrix A. So when MATLAB will read this gray image clone.png using this imread function, it will convert the pixel into its gray values and will store in A. And when we want to know the size of this A, that what is the size of A, that is what is the size of this image clone.png, that size function will be used. Size of A will store the number of rows in the memory of M and the number of column in the memory of N using this command, M comma N is equal to size of A. There are two for loops. The first for loop will start from 1 and will go to the last pixel value of that row, because M represents the row. And similarly I will control the rows and J will control the column of image. So I will start from 1 to M at the interval of 1, while J will start, this row will start, J will start from 1 to N with the interval of 1 pixel. That is, it will jump 1 pixel by 1 pixel and go row by row. First one row will be completed, then second, then third, and then fourth. And this is the transformation function which I have studied here. Here S is equal to 255 minus R. S is the negative image pixel, R is the original image pixel. You may see it here. A of ij, I is 1, j is 1, 1 location. This is A image and this pixel is, value is 1 row and 1 column. So A of 1, that is this pixel 255, we will subtract this pixel value from 255 and store in the 1 location of the B image. This is B image and this is the 1 row and 1 column. This is 1 location of B image. So when we will subtract this 0 value of A image from 255, then the result will become 255 and it will be stored here in the first pixel location of B image. So you may see it here. This is the first pixel value of a negative image and it is 255. This is the second image I have detailed and discussed in detail, and you may see it here. Using these two loops we converted. This is the end of first inner for loop and this is the end of outer for loop. And this is subplot command. 1, 2 means 1 row 2 column grid of subplot will be displayed, and in the first location of that grid we will display the original image, sub image A, title original image, and 1x2 grid. At the second location of this grid we will display the B image. B is the negative image and the title of this image after image negative transformation. That is, after applying the negative transformation, I have displayed the B image in the second grid location of subplot. When we will run this program, the computer will display this output. This is the original image This is 2 cross 1 row and 2 column subplot grid, and in the first location computer had displayed the original image, and this is the title of original image. Computer displayed the title, and this is the negative image, and this is the title of, that is, image negative transformation. Image negative transformation. You may see it here. In the next technique is the contrast stretching. Contrast, basically the difference between the intensity values of darker and brighter pixels. What is the difference of darker? What is the difference between darker and brighter pixels? If there is minor difference, then the contrast is very low, and if there is the larger difference between darker and brighter pixel, then the contrast value is high. Contrast stretching expands the range of intensity levels in an image. You may see we expand using contrast stretching techniques the range, that is darker pixel value and brighter pixel value range. When we expand this range, then contrast becomes high, and we can study the image very easily. Contrast stretching is done in 3 ways. Multiplying each input pixel intensity value with a constant scale, that is R input image pixel will be each R value will be multiplied with 2. That is, if the value of R is 50, when we multiply it with 2, it will become 100 and assigned to output pixel value S. And if the value of R is 100, it will be multiplied with 2 and become 200, and as the target image pixel value S will become 200. So we can multiply a scalar factor with the input with the pixel value of input, and get the transform pixel value of transform image. So this is the first method of contrast stretching. The second method is histogram equalization, and the third method is applying. What is histogram equalization? Actually, we equalize the histogram of the input image from 0 to 255 range. That is, all the pixels are equally distributed in between this 0 and 255 range. Then this is called histogram equalization. We will discuss this in detail. Applying a transform which makes dark portion darker by assigning slope of less than 1 and bright portion brighter by assigning slope of greater than 1. These are 3 techniques. We discuss this technique in detail. This is contrast stretching. That is, here this horizontal line represents the pixel values of input image, and each pixel value will be represented with R, and this vertical line represent S, that is the pixel value of output image. This is input image intensity levels represented with R, and these are the output image intensity levels represented with S. Here are some sections 0 to A, from A to B, and from B to 255. Actually, range is 0 to 255, and we divide into 3 portions, and we apply different. Actually, from 0 to A, these pixels values are dark values, and we make them more dark. While from B to 255, these pixel values are bright, and we transform them more bright. While the A and B in this range, the pixel values are a little bit moderate, so we will not apply some greater value on these pixels. how we will study? This is actually the for loop. No, this is not for loop, but the values of R range from 0 to A. This is 0 to A. In this range, the value of R greater than or equal to 0 and less than A. This is the range. R greater than 0 and less than A. Then we will apply this transformation function, that is R will be multiplied with a scalar factor L. L may be 2, 3 or 4, and each pixel value will be multiplied with this L value, and we will get the S pixel value which will be greater than 0 and less than A, where R will be greater than 0 and less than A. The original pixel value will be greater than 0 and less than A. If the original pixel value is greater than A and less than or equal to B, this range, greater than R value is greater than A and less than or equal to B, the pixel of original pixel which belongs to this range, the output transformation function will subtract R from A from R, that is A value will be subtracted from R. Here let's suppose here the value of R is 100 and A is 80. 100 minus 80 will become 20, and this 20 will be multiplied with M and will be added with V. There is the value of V multiplied with M and added with V. And if the pixel value of R is greater than V and less than or equal to 255, that is this range, then we will subtract the pixel value from B. Let's suppose B is 180, and here R value is 200 or 210. Then 210, here we will subtract 210 from B will subtract it from 210. B is 180, 210. Here the value will become, the result of subtraction will be 30. 30 will be multiplied with the value of N. N is some constant factor and will be added with plus W. This is W is the range, high range. So this brighter pixel will become more brighter. This is the graph. We will understand it with the example of image. This is the contrast stretching. Here, this is the original image, and we cannot study the seeds of this original image pixel. That is, what kind of disease has been, what kind of disease and how much disease has infected this seed. You cannot observe this disease influence or disease effect in this image, but here we can study that the seed has been infected from the disease very much, because these dots shows the infection which the seed has been infected from the disease. This is the original image, and after applying contrast stretching, we get this image. Here you may see that this seed and this seed, there are some seeds, but we cannot see it here in the original image, while we can observe it here. This is because the contrast stretching made the darker more darker and the latter more lighter. You may see here is a seed, but we cannot study the condition of this seed. You may study the condition of seed in the contrast stretching or enhanced image here. In enhanced image, some hidden portions are also highlighted. There is another seed behind this seed, but we cannot study it here. But in enhanced image, we can see it here, and we can study it in detail, that what is the condition of this seed value. This is the program MATLAB code of contrast stretching by multiplying of each pixel with a scalar. Here we are multiplying, that is contrast stretching is of three types: histogram equalization, multiplying each pixel value with a scalar constant, and multiplying the range of values with some, or adding the range of value with some constant values. So this is the first technique, where we are multiplying each pixel input pixel value with a scalar x. So this is the first time we take some multiplying factor value from the user and store in x. We read the clone.png image, imread command, and store in the memory of A. We want to know the size of A and store in m comma n, and we apply these two for loops, and each pixel of original image A is transformed by multiplying with scalar quantity, and B image is actually the enhanced or transformed image. And then we display the original image and the subplot grid of one row and two column, the first location, and in the second location we display the enhanced image. The output of this program is can be seen here. This is the output clone image. This is the original image, and this is the transform image. Contrast stretching. In contrast stretching, you may see that there are some background of this. This is actually the image of rice. There are some rice seeds, and the background of this image is dark, and the rice is white, while contrast stretching make this rice images of rice seeds more brighter, and it can be studied in detail here. This is the second technique, contrast stretching by using threshold function. Here we take some input scalar value from the user through input command and store in x. We read the clone.png image and store the gray values in A. We want to know the size of A. Here we use two nested loops. This is inner loop, and you may see the end of this inner loop is this is the end of on the second slide of first inner loop, that is J, controlling by J, and this outer loop which is controlled by the control variable I. This is the end of this for loop, is this second end is the end of that for loop. Sorry, this is the end of I for loop, and this is the end of J for loop. This is the end of if statement. Where is the if statement? This is the if statement, and there was the end of if statement. So there are two for loops and one if statement, and so each if statement contains one end and each for loop contains one end. There are three, there is two for loop and one if statement, and you may see there are three end statement here. This is the end of external loop, this is the end of inner loop, and this is the end of if statement. We study the program code. The first loop is controlling the rows of the input image, and second for loop is controlling the columns of input image, and this if statement actually observing each pixel value, whether the gray value of the pixel is less than 50, then it transform or it shift that input image into the enhanced image as it is without multiplying any factor. It transforms the same pixel value into the output image, and if the pixel value is greater than 200, then it will also transform as it is from input image into the output image, as the value less than 50 and the value greater than 200 are converted or multiplied with the factor x. Those values which are less than 50 and greater than 200 are multiplied with the factor x and stored in the corresponding B location pixel values. So when these two for loops finish its process, then the original image has been transformed into the B location of enhanced image, and we plot the sub image 1, 2 at one location and 1, 2 at two location. Here 1, 2 at one location original image, and 1, 2 and second location the contrast image. And you may see it here, the clone original image, and this is the enhanced image. Using these are the results of our previous program example. This is actually histogram equalization. Here we do not use any for loops and we do not transform the pixels, but we use histogram equalization built-in function, and we apply it at the original image A or the input image A and transform it into the output image B. You may see it, clone.png. imread command read this clone image file and convert the matrix into the memory location of A. Histogram equalization function is applied on A image, original image, and converted into the B transform image, and the subplot commands displays the original image and then contrast image. Actually here you may see there are 2 by 2 grid in the subplot, that is 2 rows and 2 columns. At the first location of 2 rows and 2 columns, we will display the original image. At the second location of 2 cross 2 grid of subplot, we will display the contrast image. At the third location, we will display the histogram of the IM hist of A, original image histogram. And at the fourth location of 2 cross 2 grid, because 2 cross 2 means there are 4 locations in the subplot. At the fourth location, we will display the IM hist image histogram of the transform or enhanced image, that is B image. You may see it here. This is 2 rows and 2 column grid, and this is the original image at the first location of 2 cross 2 image. This is the enhanced image, and this is actually the histogram of original image. You may see it that from 0 to 255, the histogram of the original image is the pixel values are from 0 to I think it is 80 or some values here. So all the pixel values are in between from 0 to 80, while histogram equalization functions equalized these histograms into the whole gray values, that is 0 to 255. This is histogram of this image. So when the histogram equalization transform it into this image, it actually equalize this histogram into this form, and the image results become from original to this shape. This was the result of histogram equalization function, and these were the two techniques. There are 4 more techniques which we will apply on the point operation. And this was the end of lecture number 3 part 1. Thanks, and Allah Hafiz.